Allen Iverson once sold his own body just to save his sister's life. For $200,000 to pay for her surgery, he endured torment until he passed out. This happened in 1995, when Iverson had just made a name for himself at Georgetown, but his family's struggles weighed heavily on him. His sister's illness kept getting worse, and the medical bills nearly bankrupted the family. His father had passed away, his stepfather was in prison, and Iverson was the only one bringing in money. The entire household relied on the little income he earned from basketball. But with the surgery deadline closing in, he had only 10 days to raise $200,000. Just as he was running out of options, a fellow student who often watched him play reached out. She was the daughter of the university president, and her family was extremely wealthy. She told Iverson, "I know what you're going through. I can give you $200,000, but you have to spend one night with me." At first, Iverson wanted to refuse, but then he thought about his sister lying helpless in the hospital bed. After 10 minutes of agonizing silence, he finally agreed. But when Iverson showed up at the hotel that night, the girl wasn't there. Instead, he found $200,000 neatly stacked on the bed, along with a note that read, "This is money I stole from my family. One day, you better pay me back double." Years later, when Iverson entered the NBA, his first contract was worth $7 million, and with his very first paycheck, he gave $1 million back to that girl, repaying her kindness with far more than she ever asked for. LeBron was tied to the bed and couldn't move, at the mercy of that 63-year-old woman, just to get $2,000. Why would LeBron do such a shameful thing? This incident occurred in 1999. After LeBron joined Coach Drew's team, they wanted to participate in the AAU League, but they didn't even have a decent team uniform. So LeBron and his teammates set up a stall to sell barbecue food to raise funds, but after a day, they only earned $17.5, which was far from enough. So LeBron contacted a supermarket, hoping they could sponsor their team. The supermarket owner was a woman in her 60s. She had a strange obsession. Not only did she like muscular athletes, but 14-year-old LeBron's body had already developed very maturely. So he offered LeBron $2,000 as a condition for spending the night with her, and assured LeBron that they wouldn't do anything. So the young LeBron agreed, but when LeBron arrived at the old woman's room, he was stunned. The entire room was like a prison, with whips, ankle cuffs, and handcuffs everywhere. The old woman poured a glass of water for LeBron, after which LeBron fell into a coma and didn't wake up until the next morning. When he woke up, he found himself tied to the bed, with $2,000 on the bedside table. He couldn't remember what happened last night. He only knew that he felt very uncomfortable. Then he took the $2,000 and left. LeBron stood there pretending he wanted the ball, but he had no intention of taking that damn ball in the final moments. That's exactly what Stephen Marbury said on a show. I'm sure you've watched Team USA's semifinal and final games at the Paris Olympics, right? What Marbury said couldn't be more accurate. LeBron spread his arms asking for the ball, but anyone who regularly watches his games knows he never wants the ball in crunch time. Back in his Cavaliers days, it was a little better, but after making the decision 3 times, especially during his Lakers stint, he even fought role players just to avoid being the one inbounding the ball so he wouldn't risk getting it in the final seconds. As for that moment in the Olympic final when LeBron raised his hands for the ball, Kevin Durant knew him well enough. Even seeing LeBron wide open, he still passed the ball to Curry, who was being double-teamed. After 3 years as teammates with Curry in Golden State, Durant knows Curry's ability in clutch situations. He'll never shy away from taking responsibility. And of course, he also knows LeBron raising his hands for the ball was just an act. It's not only Marbury who said LeBron pretends to want the ball in big moments. Even Shane Battier, LeBron's teammate during the Heat's back-to-back championships, once said the same thing. When chatting with Warriors coach Steve Kerr, Battier explained that after working with so many players, he could always tell if he was the one inbounding the ball. He knew who truly wanted it and who was just pretending they couldn't shake their defender, dodging the responsibility of taking the last shot. He even added that in Team USA's last 2 games at the Paris Olympics, there was only one player who was always cutting hard to get open for the ball: Stephen Curry. Without Shaq, Kobe never would have gotten that three-peat. Pair Shaq with just about any average player, and they still would have won a championship. That's what Stephen A. Smith kept saying on his show, constantly tearing down Kobe. At the time, Kobe had just won 3 straight titles alongside Shaq, yet he was still doubted by so many. Determined to silence the critics, Kobe decided to head to Rucker Park and challenge the toughest streetball players in the country. To him, winning NBA championships wasn't enough to prove himself. Before the game, he even declared, "I'm going to score 100 points in this game." game. Most NBA stars who show up to summer street ball games just treat it as fun, a chance to mess around. But Kobe was different. He treated every opponent like it was the finals. The moment he stepped in the court, the crowd went wild. After briefly greeting the fans, he changed gear and locked in. People thought his polished NBA style wouldn't work on the blacktop, but Kobe shocked everyone. He turned the game into his own personal showcase. Unfortunately, just as Kobe was putting on a show, the rain started to fall. His team wanted to shut things down to avoid injury, but Kobe refused to disappoint the fans. He kept playing until the downpour and puddles made the court unplayable. Even now, more than 22 years later, whenever people talk about NBA stars who played at Rucker Park, Kobe's name is always the first that comes up. Michael Jordan finally revealed a shocking secret. Scottie Pippen was portrayed as gay. Pippen's closest friend on the Bulls wasn't Jordan, but Horace Grant. They were not only rookies in the same year but also inseparable off the court. They spent nearly every moment together, sharing everything, even the same spoon at meals. Their unusual closeness soon caught Jordan's attention, and he wasn't happy about it. One day after practice, Pippen wanted to hit the showers with Grant. Jordan, fed up, shouted angrily, "You the damn lovebirds, get away from me." But the two didn't back down. Instead, they openly started spending nights together at hotels. Soon, the Bulls' performance began to slip. In one game, Jordan dropped 43 points while Pippen looked like he was sleepwalking, finishing with only 3. After the loss, GM Jerry Cross lost his patience. In the locker room, he exploded at Pippen. "If you play like this again, I swear I'll split you two up. I don't care if you're gay if it helps us win. I'll even book the hotel for you myself." That outburst was a wake-up call. Pippen realized things couldn't go on like this, so he eventually cut ties with Grant. From then on, they stopped seeing each other in private, at least until 1994, when Grant officially left the Bulls.